Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Mo, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we are doing our first recycled review. So I've had some issues with the audio on some of the older videos, so I've had to take it down unfortunately, but I have had a lot of requests to see the Deanston 12 again, so that's what we're doing today. So Deanston is of course a distillery located in the Highlands, but quite close to the Lowlands. I still haven't been, but I'd love to go. Especially their warehouse tour seems amazing, and I mean, my favourite Deanston is the brandy cask. It is just such a lovely, intense, beautiful whiskey. But I know a lot of the expressions that Deanston do are very much appreciated by the whiskey kind of audience, and a lot of people like them. And the 12-year-old is matured in ex-bourbon for at least 12 years old. Deanston also sits in an old cotton mill, which is also a reason why I really want to visit it. I just love when you have this kind of other historic, what's it called, like history behind distilleries as well. And yeah, and these also sits at 46.3% ABV, so it's a little bit higher than you might expect from kind of core releases, which tends to sit at either 40, 43 or 46, and it's also unchill filtered. I reviewed this almost a year ago, so it's a lovely one to revisit. I don't think I've tried it since I reviewed it actually, so I'm excited. So let's start by having a look on the nose. It's the first thing that I get is this kind of calm honey straw fruits, like almost like a red apple note, with also a little bit of wood polish. It's a lovely kind of mixture of everything coming in, and I can imagine that if you walk into an old stables or an old barn where it doesn't smell like animal anymore, you just get this kind of dusty notes and this kind of murky stone walls and earth floor, almost like a warehouse, a whiskey warehouse, and then some straw or grain. That's a bit what it reminds me of, but sweeter and with that kind of apples coming in as well. It has a lovely nose. It's quite elegant and quite intriguing. It just makes you want to like come back to it and nose it again. There's a touch of wood polish, but it just makes it even more interesting, I think. Nothing that is harsh or stands out as unpleasant at all. And it doesn't have a dry note to it. It's a little bit cold, so I'll just warm it up a tad. It's getting a little bit woodier now with a little bit of time. But it's kind of a dry summer woodiness. It makes me think of if you go up to the loft of a barn, an old barn, there's no kind of animal sense anymore, but it's an old barn, it's just straw has been kept there for ages, and if you're on the loft of it, it's usually quite dry wood. And yeah, it's just, I don't know why, but I used to be in barns a lot when I was little, and it's just, I love being there, and it just makes me feel a bit nostalgic. My romantic heart wants to imagine that this is the note you get when you step into the Deanston warehouse. That kind of lovely, nostalgic barn meets whiskey memory. Not that I have whiskey memories from when I was a child, but you get what I mean. Let's instead have a taste. Sláinte Skål. Almost getting a tropical note today. Like peaches that is wrapped around with this kind of straw and the kind of murky wood, and still quite fresh, and I want to say light because the flavours are quite light, but how do I explain this? The flavours are quite light, but there's intensity there. So if I'm talking about light flavours and heavier flavours would be maybe like smoke and tar and like really intense banana or really intense notes. A lighter flavour notes are maybe a softer grassiness, a softer fruitiness, something that is, the intensity of the flavour is there, but it isn't heavy or sharp. It's soft, but you still get flavours. It's not like you barely get the flavours. They're definitely there, but they're not overpowering. And maybe that's what I was trying to say from the start. And I can definitely see why so many people love this. It has a lot of things going on for it. I think as well, if you are used to spirits sitting at 40, 43, 46 or even 50 or higher cask strength, you would appreciate this ABV because I think the ABV balances really well with the flavours. That intensity, but it's the soft intensity is there with the warming alcohol, but the alcohol isn't taking over, so it's not too sharp or too warming, or I don't feel like I lose flavours in balance to the alcohol. They just sits quite evenly, and yeah, I think it's a good choice to keep them there because then you have the option, if you want to add a few drops of water, bring it down, maybe have it slightly more refreshing, or if you just want to keep it here and have that really lovely balance, then it's totally up to you. Still getting a slight tropical note on the palate now as well. It's that kind of peachy note that I also have on the finish. But it's also a little bit more grassy and woody now on the nose. It has a drying bitterness in the middle, I think in combination with that kind of almost sweet peach notes and then a little bit of straw and grain. I think I actually, and this is why it's so interesting to come back to whiskies, I think I actually appreciate this whiskey more today than I did the last time I had it. I just feel like I can't remember exactly, because I try so many whiskies, it's really difficult to remember individual moments of trying them, especially when you're trying them from a review, which I do quite often. It would be different if I tried it maybe in the warehouse and I could remember that experience of it, but sitting on my sofa trying whiskies is difficult to remember every single day. But I think the last time I had it, I couldn't really appreciate all the layers of it. And it might have just been that I had a day that wasn't very well suited to Deanston 12, which is why I just, really appreciate going back to them. That peach note I wasn't expecting as well. Yeah, quite sweet for me today. Good balance of wood and bitterness. Definitely not overpowering, but enough to just give a little bit of body. It's almost like peach sweets for me today. Interesting. Now this experience, just trying it like this and really enjoying it just makes me want to try even more Deanstons. That's always the case. If you try something and it might not be the right moment for it, then you kind of put it on your shelves and you leave it for a bit. But coming back to something, trying it, and it kind of exceeds your expectations or your memory of it, then it immediately just catches my interest. I get quite nerdy, so if there's something that catches my attention, I'm like, I need to do this all at once. So I mean, I'd love to hear your opinion on Deanston 12. Is it one of your favourites? Is there another Deanston you like better? Please let me know in the comments below, and I know it's also really helpful for everyone else who's watching the video to see what your recommendations are, and yeah, it's just lovely to interact with all of you guys. Just can't stop noticing this now. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel, I'd very much appreciate a thumbs up and maybe a subscribe if you haven't already, or if you'd consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt Whisky Exchange or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. And as always, I've forgotten to say what this retails at. It retails here in the UK around £35. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. I'm so grateful to have you guys with me on my whisky journey. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål!